Hello, everybody, and welcome to this episode of The Word. Today, I'm going to just be going over some news stories. It's going to be a quick deal. Tyler's not with me. He is at the museum with his niece, so that's going to be pretty awesome for him. And since the news is always no good, he won't be missing out on much. So I just want to go ahead and let everybody know. I've said this. You can text The Word to 33222 to subscribe and get a text alert whenever we go live. And hopefully you'll enjoy this episode. So, I'll go ahead and share my screen here, and we're going to lead off with this comes out of Rebert. University hosts post-Easter workshop to combat Christian privilege. So, what we have here is George Washington University is hosting a diversity workshop to battle Christian privilege. Later in the article here, it says Christians in the USA unfairly experience life in an easier way than non-Christians, and therefore have a built-in advantages over non-Christians. So, the point that they're trying to make here is that everybody should be equal, people. That's the message. And of course, this is foretold in the Bible, that in the end times there'll be an antichrist and a new world order. And I think that pretty much just this story definitely relates to that. It's almost I think it's hogwash, basically. That's what I consider this. But seminar participants should also be able to list at least 3 examples of Christian privilege after the session, as well as being able to list at least 3 ways to be an ally with a non-Christian person. So I don't even really know where this is going, but Caucasian people, the campaign suggested, even if not racist themselves, still benefit from white privilege and therefore need to make reparation for the inherent injustice of race. So like I just have to apologize to everybody because I'm white. It's funny. Somebody once told me, they said, "Oh, you're a white, you're a straight, you're a male. You won. You're the winner. You've won." And I face the same injustices. Maybe not the exact same injustices of every person, but you're either going to come across wicked people in your day-to-day life or you're not. And I pray that all of you, come across awesome human beings whenever you're at the store and in everyday life. So I just thought that this was, it's hard for me to comprehend just this type of buffoonery. But um, as I said, I just wanted today's session to be quick. And more than anything, I just want to get in the hang of just putting something out, even if it's just a little something every day. So I'm going to move on to the next story, which is gender neutral Swedish preschools teach boys to wear dresses. So here we have now preschools use a variety of techniques to eliminate gender from the classroom and make girls act like boys and vice versa. They prevent kids from playing only with other boys or girls. Boys are sent to play kitchen while girls practice. Preschools now have gender specialists on staff that can address problems like boys refusing to paint or dance, or students drawing eyelashes on only female subjects. And Turing told the New York Times she gets upset when she sees her friends' babies dressed in blue and pink. It feels like a responsibility for her to tell them that by dressing girls in pink and boys in blue, they are making a mistake. I I don't know where to even go with this. The complete desexing of society will lead to much more powerful governments, former intelligence analyst Stella Morabito has repeatedly written as a transgender craze has taken off. If you abolish sex distinction in law, you can abolish state recognition of biological family ties, and the state can regulate and consolidate power as never before. This whole push for this transgender, I mean, these are kids. I mean, did we forget that? Who forgot that? Are children, they're preschoolers. They should like be putting their hands in a can of paint and like painting with their hands and, like, throwing a ball. Like, that's what they should be doing. I don't know. I've seen this in Canada. I've seen it in some of the European countries. I've noticed where actually I believe in it's in the second grade in Canada. They actually have to pick their what sex they are. It's like I'm like sometimes in my head I just can't wrap my head around this. It just hurts. It actually hurts my face to think about this type of stuff. But I don't know where this world is going. But if this is the direction that we're going in, combined with the last time I did the news and I had some studies I had put out on atheism statistics, it's all very clear. It's all been foretold. It's right there in the word. You can read it for yourself. And these are the times in which we're living in. So, um, enjoy that. Next, I want to touch on China. China has been in the news for me, a couple times. Last time I broadcasted, China had just released a statement that they were going to ban um, the Bible, and what I mean by that is they've pulled about 1.6 million copies off the shelves, and then they have digitally abolished it as a country. And what I mean by that specifically is that you can no longer buy a Bible in China. So, digitally speaking, you can't get it on Amazon. You can't download it. They removed it from all the app stores. And here's China in the news again. These guys are just awesome. So, the president of China says to the United Nations, "We need to be pushing for global governance." That's what he says. This article is about how he wants to push for a global governance. Well, what does that exactly mean? Well, let's see how China is doing things. This is going to be very interesting, I think, for people that can hang in there with me. And I see that I've got a person in the chat here. I suppose we're going to start seeing an end to gender reveal party soon. Yeah, I know. And eating glue, exactly. Yes. To continue with the Chinese story here, China will ban social credit from planes and trains. Am I reading this right? When I first came across the story, I was thinking, and I'm just gonna stop sharing. See me. But just take a moment to digest this for a second. China will ban people with poor social credit from planes and trains. Um, and I'm going to get into details about what this means. So, starting in May, the Chinese citizens who rank low on the country's burgeoning social credit system will be in danger of being banned from buying plane tickets or train tickets. When I saw this, I thought, "Wait, what is this? This has to be fake news, right? I mean, this can't. Is this real? I mean, are the people gonna rise up? Are they gonna do anything?" So this article continues here. With the social credit system, the Chinese government rates citizens based on things like criminal behavior and financial misdeeds, but also on what they buy, what they say, and what they do. Those with low scores have to deal with the penalties and restrictions. And that's pretty much all this article says. And I was just thinking to myself, what does that mean exactly? Like I'm confused that like that's a pretty large net of statements there, and I was just interested. So I dug and I found someone that wrote in grave detail exactly what's going on in China, and I thought it was so fascinating I would share it with you guys. So this is what's happening. Just how are people, and this is an article done by the Wired. I'll put the link in the description if you want to read it yourself. It's fascinating. It's a big article, but it's definitely worth a read because I think this is indicative of exactly where everything is going, in the world today. So, just how are people rated? Well, credit history, for example. Well, we have a credit system here in the United States. If you don't have a good credit score, if you don't pay for your house on time, you don't pay for your cars on time, you have trouble getting a loan. I'm okay with that. I'm not against that. So that's one of the factors that they take in. The other factors that they take in are personal characteristics, verifying personal information such as someone's mobile phone and address. And this is where it gets really interesting. A person's shopping habits. For instance, someone who plays video games or purchases video games would be considered an idle person, and their score would lower. So if you're in China and you go with your credit card and you buy a video game, it pings the system and says this person bought a video game, and that lowers your score. Someone who frequently buys diapers would be considered probably a parent who on balance is more likely to have a sense of responsibility. This could possibly increase your score. It nudges citizens away from purchases and behaviors the government does not like. So everything that you do in China is based on this social score that you have. And now if you have a low score, you can't travel, you can't get on the train, you can't. And I'll get into other things that they're taking away from the citizens below, but this is just crazy. Now hear me when I say this, because this is way out there. But friends matter too. The fifth category is interpersonal relationships. Sharing what credit refers to as positive energy online. Nice messages about the government or how well the country's economy is doing will make your score go up. So if you want your score to go up, you can get on your Facebook in China. It's actually not called Facebook. I forget what they call it here. And if you say the government of China is so great, the system realizes that's you, and that will affect your score if you post that. However, here's the kicker. A person's own score will also be affected by what their online friends say and do, beyond their own contact with them. If someone they are connected to online posts a negative comment about the government, their score will also be dragged down. So if I'm friends with Tyler online, and Tyler gets online and he posts and says, "Man, this Chinese government really sucks," my score goes down. So it is directly severing relationships. It's saying, hey, do not associate with anyone that says that the government is bad. Only associate with people that say that the government is good. And this is just, I mean, I don't think I have to, to elaborate, but I mean, this is slavery. This is what we're talking about. Is we're talking about a nation that's enslaved here. So why have millions of people already signed up for the system? Because it's in a trial right now. It's a full rollout in 2020. Every citizen will be tracked, every single move that they make, every purchase they make, every post that they make. Anytime that their phone gets close to another person's phone, the system picks up. It goes, oh, this person is near this person a lot. They're friends, and it links those two together. So if you have your phone and you go over to your friend's house, you may not be friends online, but if your phone is close to that person's phone, the system recognizes that you two have a relationship, and based on what that person says, your score will be affected as well. Well, here's the kicker. If you reach a certain score, they'll give you a check. If you reach a certain high score, the Chinese government will mail you a check. So if you do nothing but say the government of China is great, and you buy only organic food, and you don't buy any beer, and you don't buy any video games, and all you do is talk about 24/7 about how the Chinese government is great, they'll give you a little check in the mail. It's like $500 to us. High score. Also, there's some other perks, as your score gets higher. So people with low ratings will have slower. We in the other article, it said they'll be banned from trains and planes. But actually, if you dig a little bit deeper, your right to travel will be removed. People with low ratings will also have slower internet speeds, restricted access to restaurants, nightclubs, and golf courses. Forbidden from obtaining some jobs that include civil service and journalism. So if you're a person with a low score, forget becoming a writer, because the Chinese government doesn't want you writing anything, and none of your stuff will be published. Restricted when it comes to enrolling themselves or their children in high-paying private schools. So that's pretty much that. 6.15 million of Chinese citizens, as I'm saying this right now today, have been banned from flights and trains over social misdeeds. So 6.15 million people have already had their right to get on a train and a plane taken away from them. How the country isn't in complete civil unrest, I don't know, but that is that's the wonders of a beautiful dictatorship, I suppose. So that's pretty much it. I just wanted to, I'm called to just put something out every day. I don't know, sometimes I'll have a little bit more to say, and sometimes I won't over a few stories that I've read over the past couple of days, and hopefully you will find it enlightening. And I will say I don't think that the United States is too far off from these similar policies. Uh, I think that the mechanisms are already in place here in the United States. I think that if they wanted to put these policies in place, that they would just have to flip a switch. Which, by the way, they actually did just not too long ago pass a law that you can't leave. Uh, Passports are going to be mandatory, and to get your hands on a passport, you have to be somewhat educated and know how the process works. And it's just another way that they're going to keep the little people down. I have a passport, but there's a lot of people that probably don't know how to get one, and it's just a shame. So that's it. That's the news. I hope you guys enjoyed it. It was short today. I'm just glad you tuned in, and I love you guys, and God is good. Okay, bye.